Everyone has a story. You have a story, I have a story, and more importantly, every kid that walks through our doors has a story. These stories are the reason I'm an AVID elective teacher and coordinator. These stories are why I will fight and do whatever it takes to continue to grow the partnership my district has with AVID and the relationships I have with my students and their families. We all know that AVID opens doors to many opportunities for students, such as access to rigorous curriculum, college field trips, motivational speakers, scholarships, and academic support through excellent teaching strategies. However, I believe the most valuable opportunity that AVID has created for our students is the opportunity to share their stories. I had been teaching math for about 9 years when I began to feel like I was ready for a change. I didn't know what that change was, I just knew I needed one. For years, I felt like our community needed something more for our students. I remember driving down Main Street and telling my closest friends that I wanted someone just to give me a building where we could create a safe place for kids to go, to hang out, to receive academic and social support, a place they would feel welcomed and accepted, a home where they always had someone who loved and cared for them. 3.5 years ago, my principal, Teely Williams, stood in a faculty meeting and announced that our county would be implementing this new system called AVID. He explained that AVID is designed to push kids to reach their potential and that it creates opportunities for those students who are often underserved and overlooked. I listened intently. He believed AVID was just what Avon Park High School was missing. I sent him an email, said I might be interested, and sat for an interview. Soon after, I was told I would be attending Summer Institute in Orlando with a few teachers from my school, coordinating our AVID system, and teaching our first 2 AVID elective classes that next year. I had no clue what I had gotten myself into or how my life was about to change and gain new purpose. As I listened to the student speakers that first summer, I heard a few things loud and clear. AVID gives students a voice, an opportunity to share their stories without being judged. And the AVID classroom is that one place on campus where students always feel safe and accepted. It became clear to me that it is not until students feel safe and confident enough to be themselves and share their stories that things like Cornell notes, tutorials, and other Wicker strategies have any value at all. I realized when I returned home from that summer institute and began my journey with AVID that I had been given that building I had wished for. That building was my AVID classroom. The stories began to flow in my building during our first Socratic seminar 3 years ago and have been flowing ever since through quick writes, AVID family chats, journal entries, and during morning and afternoon drop-ins. Stories of students who used to look into the windows of AP and honors classes thinking they didn't have the right skin color, bank account, or capability to sit in those desks. Stories of young men who are angry and hurt from having absent fathers. Stories of being responsible for sending younger siblings off to school, picking them up in the afternoon, and working several nights a week to help support the family. Stories of losing a parent or sibling to death or incarceration, living with chronic illness, or being afraid of becoming just one more failure in a long line of high school dropouts. Even a story of a young girl who is raising a child she had as a result of sexual abuse. Yes, many of their stories are filled with tragedy and obstacles. However, AVID is helping to write the other side of these stories and filling them with hope. You see, those same students who peered in those classroom windows are now earning A's and B's in those AP and honors courses. Those same young men are turning their anger toward their fathers into motivation to become better role models and dads someday. That same student who works and cares for his siblings comes to school each day on time with a thankful attitude because his parents had to quit school at 8 and 10 years old to work in a foreign country. Those same students who have lost family members have gained a new family in AVID. Those students who feared that they would continue the legacy of dropping out have graduated high school and have been accepted to college. And that young girl who is raising a child is excelling in school and found her voice just last year on this very same stage as she shared her story with others for the first time. These stories of turning tragedy into triumph are the reason I feel so blessed and even undeserving of the privilege of being an AVID mama, as my students so lovingly call me. These stories are the reason I will keep the doors of my building open wide. These stories are the reason I will continue to challenge others like yourselves to create opportunities for students to find their voice. These stories continue to change my story daily. I believe wholeheartedly that these stories are transforming our schools, our communities, and family generations to come. Thank you.